Hello. Oh, sorry about that. It's a bit croaky. Well, Stella's top of the shop. It's 2:50 a.m. Must should be 3:04 a.m. now in Western Australia. My third live. Dog's asleep on the couch beside me. Shh! Don't wake up the dogs. Lovely to have you with us, Stella. Brilliant. Thank you for joining us. Pia, evening. Almost 10 p.m. in Finland. Oh yes, you are. Oh, is it? They're an hour ahead then. Good morning. It's 2 hours, of course. Yeah. Good morning, everyone from Australia. Hi, Stella. I'm in bed too. Husband asleep. Dog at the end of the bed. Penny is here. Hi from Auckland. Hello, Penny. Lovely to see you. Stella Galax here. Oh, good morning, Vicky. What is wrong with us? I don't know. What's wrong with you? You must be mad. Penny saying,
or
dog and cat
what's the
too.
condition when you can't sleep? Is it insomnia? Is it
Insomnia? Yeah.
Yes, I think that might be the case. Or is it FOMO?
It's more like FOMO, I would say. Just get it done. Watch it while it's live. You never know. Melanie McCrow's here. Hello, Melanie. Hi from Norwich. Vicky Ware says, Stella, we are addicted. It is an addiction. It's an addiction. Aston's here. Hi, lovelies. How are you getting on, Aston?
Hiya.
Day 2 are you on now? Is that where you are? You're gradually... day 2 or day 3? Day 2, I think. Linka Sendell. Hi from Gloucestershire, says Linka.
Are you new to us, Linka?
I don't. That's almost like somebody's misspelled Lindsay Setchell, isn't it? Linka Sendell.
Linka Sendell.
Yeah, that's a lovely name. I think you're new to us. I don't know. I don't recognise Linka's name.
You're very
Janet's
welcome.
here. Janet Welsh. Hello. Hi, everyone. Tracy Gray. Hi, Tracy. Janet. I replied to your message, Tracy. So just so you know, Therese is here. Good evening from north of Sweden. Oh, it's a bit of sun coming behind the cloud there. We went for a walk and had to rush back because it was drizzling. It's coming in. It's meant to be sunny here, but it really isn't. Uta's here. Hi from Germany. Jeanette's here. Hi. Bonsoir. Hi evening from France. Sarah Lou's here. Hi everyone. What's it like on the Isle of Tree this evening? Becky Harding from Essex. Hello, darling. Hello. Linka Sender says, I'm new.
I thought you were.
Well, what are we going to talk about tonight then, Gary? There's all sorts of things we could talk about. Oh, Julie says, hi from the sunny side of Scotland. Oh, that's reminded me. Julie wanted me to talk about somebody. Day 3 already. Gosh, that's gone fast. Can't bear the daily unlocking. Would much rather binge. Loving it. Thank you so much. No, you're not allowed to binge. You're not allowed. Otherwise, it wouldn't be called the 15-day challenge, would it? It would be called...
It'd be the 15-hour challenge.
Exactly. Please, can we look at Claire Wood's post? Yes, let's do that if I can actually find it. Oh, here, Claire, you're here. Hi, Dawn. I just seen the link. Exciting, Claire. Right, I've got to try and find where you are now. If somebody can find me a link directly to your post, that would be marvelous. Windy, Alex is tying everything down with the big machine so it doesn't blow away in the next gale. God, I can't imagine what that must be like. That's living real life, isn't it? Really is. Anne Blake's here. Hello, Anne. How's Wex? Not Wex.
Max.
How's Max? How's he doing? Leah Melling's here. Hello, Leah. Looking forward to our little one-to-one meeting interview coming up.
I don't think I'm going to be able to make it, Leah, but I'll be there in spirit.
I'll be there, Leah. I'll be there. Don't you worry about it. I'll be there. Becky Bragg's here, evening from Cornwall, making rowan berry jam. Oh, lovely.
That sounds nice.
Fruit is out everywhere here. Tim was out picking apples and blackberries today. They're just popping out everywhere. There's fruit everywhere. Plums, marabelles. Scroll down. It was yesterday, but been updated. Right. Let's get in. Hang on a moment. Phoenix would help. I thought I had that one open, but no. Right. Let's get into StreamYard. Present share screen. Here we go. Oh, and la 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 la. 9,000. I've only got 1,000 to go, Gary, before I've sorted out the merch. It's not good. It's not looking good.
I know.
At this
I
rate,
know.
that's probably just a fortnight. We better hurry up.
It's going to be before the end of the Norfolk workshop. So you're going to have to get in there.
That's
When's Asher
cool.
home?
Yeah,
When's Asher home?
she's coming
Asher's
home at the end of
workload's
this
going to
week.
have to go through the roof.
Yeah, I'm Asher this evening, guys. Can you see? I put the wrong shirt on. I'm Asher. Hello, good evening, all. I'm Asher. I know I look like my mum. Talk like her too, but really I'm Asher. Right, okay, let's get in there. Right, scrolling down. Claire Wood, oh, yes, that's needs a trim. Hi, is there a live tonight? Sure is, we're on it. I'm going to skeg through this because, oh my God, it's a nightmare. Oh, I love that post from Joe Tracy Kirk. Look,
Joe's just joined us. Well done, Joe.
Well done, Joe. Look at that. Pretty
Awesome
pony
job.
too. One dun. Absolutely brilliant. Melissa could do with probably talking about that one. Yes, Gary Hinton says yes. Patty must do Patty. Oh, that's the one that's dragged a few people out of the woodwork that are not very happy with us for mentioning that. Honestly, do you know something the equine world is full of? Isn't it amazing? This amazing horse. It's wonderful. Oh, it died of laminitis. Oh, that's ever so sad. We're all very sad, which everybody is very sad. Move on. What, has the irony not been lost on people? Like I said, despite being under the care of top vets and living in the same country as a leading laminitis research unit in Queensland,
that gets paid millions and millions and millions of pounds over the years.
Paid millions, and guess which organisations give them the most money?
Funding.
I'll give you a clue. They still haven't got on top of this. There's no need for horses to have laminitis anymore, and there really isn't. There's no need for them to have rotated pedal bones. There's no need for them to have osteonecrosis. There's no need for them to have laminitis. These are all caused by human error, all of it. But we brush it off as if, well, it's, it was her fault. She just couldn't cope because she got toxic mastitis and it went to her feet. And now you hear all sorts of stories coming out. But really, in the essence of learning, it's like, isn't it? If this was a jumbo jet that had gone down, do you think they'd say, oh, no, we can't share that with the world? Oh, no, absolutely not. No, that was our jumbo jet, and we'll be keeping all that information private. Thank you. You're not finding anything out about that. But if you say in the horse world, well, it died of laminitis, millions of other horses are dying laminitis. Why hasn't this been fixed? Let's see the full transparent. Oh, no, can't do that. And we, for asking for that, which of course I knew we would never in a million years get that, for asking for it, we are seen as really bad people. It's really interesting, isn't it? The psychology. We are terrible people for requesting transparency about how this animal died. Anyway, don't get me on it. Oh, that's the HM public page. We were gone up to 20k likes as well, but we're booming up the followers. We've gone up to 26k followers, which is wonderful. Thank you. We are angels. It's lovely. Megan, is there live today? Randy might look at his post. I've not found it yet. How come there are so many posts? Oh, that's interesting. I might have to go and have a look at that. Oh,
this is why we don't get Lindsay to scroll.
Patty.
This is why we ask for
Toya,
links.
darling. That broke my heart. Made me cry, that, Toya. It really made me cry. Broke my heart. Where is it then? I shall stop scrolling in a minute if I don't find it.
What was it?
I can't scroll anymore.
Claire Wood. Let me see if I can find it.
Can't scroll anymore. It's doing my head in. Is that right? Okay. Have I gone to your profile? I'm sorry. Here we go. Look, Lindsay's found it. I
That the one
found
with
it.
the vet report on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we found it at the same time.
Sorry. Thank you so much. Here we go then. Let's get into it. It's going to be long. Julie Bradman tells me you're going to do a live to try and help Spirit. I'm blown away by how kind this is. Thank you. You're very welcome. Let's get into it. Vet's finding from the x-rays a couple of weeks ago. Vet is trying his best to help after being on holiday. He's keen to follow up. The x-rays were referred to the person whose comments. Don't understand that. I'm booked onto an HM course in October. You come to Scotland. Wonderful. Can't wait to meet you. Interested in feedback on this from any professionals on this page. In no way criticizing, just trying to help my horse. Criticizing what? He's 16 on a track, but with some grassy areas, fed low sugar hay. Had steroid in back recently. Has been tender on his back. Is he ridden? Oh, not ridden. Hence, I want to see what was happening underneath the cause, as this has been ongoing for a while. Not ridden in over a year, despite treatments. Sports massage lady was concerned that it may not just be muscular, and that she was right when she said this about my other horse, Nazra. I asked for hoof x-ray because I get told that the hooves have a great impact on the posture. It certainly does. And this will affect the back. So I figured I need to do my best to find out how to help the hooves posture. Wonderful. Really, I was just looking for a baseline, to be honest, as I was planning to try him to see if it helps. But then trying HM trim, can I just say to everybody watching this and anybody that goes out onto social media, I know it's inevitable. I know it is inevitable that people will call it the HM trim, the Phoenix method, the Phoenix trim. It is inevitable that people are going to say that. It's the Phoenix way. We gave it a name. It's a way. It's not a trim. It's not a method. Because we're following Mother Nature's constants. We are just simply following what the natural foot would do. And they are so incredibly consistent, of course, because the anatomy is obviously, the same. So, but people do say the HM method. Just it isn't a method. It isn't a method, which is why when people say we're going to try it, I always think it's funny. It's a funny sort of turn of phrase, because it's like you're saying, I'm just going to try what Mother Nature created, see if that works.
Hold on a minute. This is going to sound a bit condescending, and I don't mean it to come that way. I'm just going to try breathing.
What's he doing?
Did you hear me, or you lost me?
No, I'm looking at you now. I had to come back.
All right. Can you hear me then?
I can hear you.
It's almost like
oh, I see what you're doing now. I get it. Sorry.
Yes,
did anybody else get a bit confused?
Catch up. Yeah. It's almost like saying, I'm just going to try breathing. The horse wants the foot that it needs, and it wants the lifestyle that it needs, and it wants the species-specificness to thrive, to succeed. We need to breathe to succeed. It's the same. It's not us. It's Mother Nature. It's the way that we were all built.
And we fight against biology all the time because people just don't understand biology. Anyway, that was just a little aside there. I got told about navicular changes, side bone changes, and lammy changes. Oh, it's all happening. Spirit was getting more grass for a bit earlier this summer, so probably that's where our lammy changes come in. It's still only rough grazing, not cow grass, as we live in West Highland on unfertilised croft with original grazing, rushing gorse trees, etc. But more than usual gets on the side of my track. I can't believe that would be a major problem, I have to tell you. Track is 400 meters, maybe. Access to arena and shelter hay in multiple spots. Salt. I used to have them on hemp seed before, and they look great. I've dropped the ball with various pressures happening. So none for a while now. To be honest, my horses look a bit poor, so I think I need to start it again. Summer is hard time work-wise, so little groundwork correct. Sorry, bar the track looking for hay. That's fine. Horses don't care. Hay is meadow, low sugar, very low, 4%. What's it like nutrient-wise if they're looking a bit poor? One source has it's hard to get from different sources and very expensive as West Coast hay is poor due to difficulty harvesting when it's not bloody raining, basically all the time. Most stuff I can get comes up as high sugar. Once things all calm down in October, groundwork is possible. Boots not fitting at the moment. A bit lame the other day. Tight hamstrings. A bit pottery, though not horrific. We have tried no trim, EPA UK trim, keeping heels and boots with wedges. Just try what Mother Nature says, really. That's really what you need to do. I'm pretty tired now after 10 years trying to find something that works for him and reading a fair bit, adjusting care, sourcing hay, learning about opposing methods still helpful. Right. Now, I haven't got time to whiz through all of this because it's lots of words, although I have read it myself. So I can just give you a quick précis. So we do have the dorsal third or two spinous processes are impinging. So that does mean that there has been some issue going on up there, and it's actually a very common place that happens. A mild adjacent increased opacity in the spinous process is consistent with some form of sclerosis, with sclerosis. The location of these processes is ventral to the third radiopaque marker, Okay, so there's definitely been something going on there. But that has not been helped by posture, 100%, definitely not been helped by posture. And it concerns me that you say you've been trying lots of different things. So I'm assuming that in the past you will have chopped off toes, left heels high. Those are the sorts of trims that you mentioned. Now, I'm not going to go all the way through this, but what I find here is we've got the palmar angle is severely low at minus 0.2 degrees. And there is moderate broken forward hoof past axis. So we would call that broken back. The subject coronary extensor distance is 1 centimeter. So that is the founder distance, and the sole thickness 1.4, blah, 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 blah. The toe region of the hoof capsule is severely overgrown. It's the wording that I find interesting. Severely overgrown. Dorsal hoof wall normal thickness, blah, 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 blah. And then we start looking at the collateral cartilages, are ossified to the level of the mid-proximo-distal aspect of the navicular bone. Let's keep going. There is mid-flaring of the lateral aspect of the hoof capsule. There is good compacto spongiosa demarcation of the navicular bone. There are two moderately sized rounded oval synovial invaginations. Right, okay, so we've got some navicular changes so they can see. Left 4 is not much different. It's a similar sort of thing. You're reading the same sort of stuff going on in the left 4. Let's move on. And then, interestingly, we've got more problems with the hinds and as well. And the toe region, again, of the hoof capsule is severely overgrown. It's that word again, severely. But I am going to probably upset a few people when I say this next bit. But all of this money spent and all of this diagnosis, maybe I might upset or I might make a few people giggle. I don't know. It's not funny, is it? But this is what's going to happen. All of this is spent. The lateral hoof wall flares quite severely, again, severe. So these are people who are making comments about the hoof capsule. Yet these are people who do not deal with hoof capsules, but they're making comments about it. Lateral hoof wall flares quite severely at the distal aspect, the central of the, and what I find with, we understand it because this is what we teach. But when vets are using this kind of language for ordinary owners that aren't used to this kind of language, why can't they just, I don't know, stick it in ChatGPT and say, make this more for, 12th grade or something, just to start trying to make it a little bit easier for people to read, because it boggles people's minds. It's hard work. And it's not necessary either. It really isn't. It's just not. You can talk about like this with each other, but not with horse owners. It's just not right. There is mild. So we got mild here, but everything else was severe. Mediolateral imbalance with the medial side distal to the lateral side. The lateral hoof wall flares quite severely, blah, blah, blah. And it goes on like that. Okay. So all of this stuff. And then we go on with the right hind foot. And we go again, the toe region of the hoof capsule is severely overgrown. The hoof wall is of normal thickness. Well, yes. The collateral cartilage of the distal phalanx are ossified, blah, blah, blah. So what they're saying is we've got balance issues, we've got navicular issues. They're saying you've got side bone. They're actually saying that there is 5.5 degrees and there is moderate back hoof pattern axis. All of this is all about balance. It's all about balance. And of course, that will have affected the back quite a bit. So all of this goes on and on and on. And then they say impinging spinals, front feet. So here's the conclusions. Mild bilateral rotational. Are you still with me, guys? I've not dropped off yet. Mild bilateral rotational laminitis with long toe, low heel, flat feet. The long toe, low heel, flat feet, and thin sole conformation, and evidence of laminar enthesopathy in the left fore. Bilateral dorsopalmar imbalance, mild irregularities of the left fore navicular bone may indicate mild pathologies of the flexor cortex of just blah, blah. Okay, right. Now we've got the x-rays, and I think we've got x-rays coming up. But the thing that made me sort of go, sigh, right, is this bit. All of that oomph, gumph, bump, all of this telling you exactly what they've seen. All of that, and then all the way down here, and this is what you get. That. Additional comments. Remedial farrier would be recommended for all four limbs using these radiographs as a guide. Boom. That's it. All that money spent. Hot bar shoe. That's what we need. Hot bar shoe. That'll fix it. Wow. All of those things that potentially are issues, but you know, all you have to do is stick that horse in a hot bar shoe and you'll have fixed it. Right. So let's go have a look at these x-rays, shall we? Oh, hello. All right, here we go. So what we have here is we have a dorsopalmar imbalance. So we've got not severely, but we've just got an imbalanced foot. So we've got more toe material down here. And that, so heel to toe is out. So in other words, the toe is longer than it should be from coronary band to the ground. And what that means is that you've ended up with a broken back, what we call broken back P3. And we have got, it looks like it's weight bearing, and we've almost got an NPA because we're ground parallel. I mean, honestly, it looks almost that we've got NPA there. What does that mean? It means that P3 shouldn't be ground parallel, and it certainly shouldn't be NPA. I think they measured it. I don't know if this is that foot, but they measured some feet at minus. Normally, horses are around about 3 to 5 degrees positive. And that varies, of course. Now we've got a little bit what looks like an enthesophyte just starting to form here, where we've got soft tissue attachment. But that's pretty much all you can see from this. So for me, for this horse, I'd be going, wow, get the balance sorted. So it doesn't need chopping, which is interesting, you know, the severely long toe. So if a farrier read that information and then they would just simply chop this toe off, that wouldn't fix the dorsopalmar imbalance, because that's what you have here. A straightforward dorsopalmar imbalance on your right fore. So not only have we got a dorsopalmar imbalance, we've got a conformational change. I mean, this is very common when you have P1, which is not, it doesn't look symmetrical or uniform, but that's entirely common. It really is. But as you come down, you can see that here where P3 is, it's not level. So you've got, it's wider here. There's more space here. There's more depth here than there is over here. And when this happens, it remodels. P3 can get remodeled, but just like in osteonecrosis, you can get remodeling. The way that P2 is also is an interesting shape, and the end of this navicular here. We've got quite tight space going on here, and it's not so tight here. But look at the arrow pointing to this flare. But you see, if flare is not a problem at all, and if you keep a horse trimmed to the hard sole plane and its natural constants, all this would be absolutely as the horse would need it, and this wouldn't be an issue. But what they're really trying to say here is just take it off. But that's not how you take off flare. You actually trim it back to the hard sole plane. There's a little bit of a twist in this foot, so obviously this horse is going to put out a flare. It's not a problem, but you need to trim it to the hard sole plane and make sure that this isn't active. I'm hoping that I'll get some hoof pictures. So what we're seeing here on the articulating surface, because we're sort of looking through like a cross section of the navicular bone, what you're seeing here are normal. The navicular bone has normal holes in it anyway. They're called foramina, and they are nutrient holes, and they also carry blood vessels as well. And what they find is that when there are problems in the joint capsule with the navicular bone, in the actual joint itself, because there's synovial fluid in there, it's a synovial fluid joint. And what they find is that the synovial fluid, they think, is getting pushed into the navicular bone and causing those holes, those foramina, to change shape. And they often look like lollipops, because as they're pushed, they should look sort of conical, which is really what this is looking like. But you shouldn't really see them so obvious. But this really isn't necessarily an indication. Well, it isn't an indication that we have navicular disease or navicular problems. What we've got here is we've got joint problems. And where do joint problems come from? They come from imbalances. So that's what we have got going on here, and have been going on here for a very long time to cause those issues. So that's what we're seeing there. That in itself does not mean lameness. That right there in itself doesn't mean lameness. That right there indicates that something is not right. But it doesn't necessarily mean navicular disease or syndrome. Well, the syndrome being that they're not quite right because there's pain from the joint. And people go, oh, it's the navicular bone, it's the navicular bone, it's the navicular bone, because that's where we can see changes. But the problem is in the joint. It's a joint issue. Because that surface, there are two surfaces. There's the articulating surface that is with P2 and P3, and then you have the flexor surface, which is where the digital flexor tendon goes over. So let's just hope that we're going to see something like that in a minute. So let's look down here. We can see some quite wide channels down here. We've got a little bit of a crena here, and that's totally normal. Potentially some loss of density at the front here of P3, but we haven't got any significant osteonecrosis going on. So that's a good thing. Let's move on. So now we're on the left fore. That is an interesting spot just there, just at the just next to the extensor process there, at the distal edge of P2, at the bottom edge of P2. Look, I'm doing it now. I try really hard not to do that. Oh, and I didn't go back and have a look, did I? Let me just go back and have a quick look at navicular bone here. Well, it's moved a little bit, so we can't see. So we've got three sort of shadows there. Can't really see an awful lot there. We're going to hopefully get a better view of that in a minute. This here is looking interesting, but I think that is just because we've had movement. Again, we have got a situation where we're just off ground parallel. So immediately we have two front feet which aren't the same for that horse. That's a problem. You know, we're creating wobbly tables is what we're doing when we're doing all of this kind of incorrect trimming. We're just creating wobbly tables all the time. There is a tiny, what might be considered a little bit of more separation, the hoof distal phalanx distance, the distance between the front of P3 and the outside of the hoof wall is slightly wider towards the bottom. But I have to tell you again that this balance is slightly off. Not as bad as it was with the other one, but it is slightly off. But if you look at the difference, this one's got a lower heel. Here, this is a lower heel, bum, 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 higher heel. I so feel for horses when they're walking around with feet that have been trimmed to the personal preference of the human being, ignoring pretty much what the horse is telling you. So what have we got going on here? Same problem, but more synovial invaginations going on here in this navicular bone. Again, showing us that they're bigger and wider than they should be. Synovial fluid has been pushing in there. There are also other implications of that too, because the more that these invaginations invade into the navicular bone, the more problem that you have with other vessels and tissue that's in there, because that all gets affected. And they're only tiny, these tiny little anastomoses that are hanging around in the navicular bone. And we've got a slight shadow here, which could be we could be looking at a bit of a cyst there and here, which might just be part of these invaginations, although I don't think so. But we'd have to go in and have another look. We can't see, sadly, we can't see the front of, and I'm a bit surprised at that. You know, I know that they're focusing on P3, but on the navicular bone, but it'd be really nice if we could see the full P3 there, because what's the point of taking the photograph or the X-ray if we can't see that? So there's not really an awful lot to say there. Right, now we've got a skyline. And the skyline view, when you have this view here, you're looking at the DDFT, the flexor surface. It's not the DDFT, it's obviously navicular. This surface here is part of the distal interphalangeal joint with P2 and P3. And this down here is the skyline view, which is where the deep digital flexor tendon moves over. And what you're looking for is a nice clean line all the way around, and not grey areas, not particularly grey areas. So they're pointing to this area here and saying that it's potentially an issue. And here are the synovial invaginations, which you can see in this view, because before you can imagine that sliced in half and looking at it that way. That was the other view that you had. So that's telling us that whole podotrochlear apparatus that the navicular is involved in, the navicular apparatus, the podotrochlear apparatus, the entire foot has been suffering from imbalances, which has caused the distal interphalangeal joint to have issues. Therefore, the deep digital flexor tendon, everything is affected. It isn't just because we've got something going on here, which could be an enthesophyte going on there. All of these things is not necessarily in itself going to again cause lameness. All of these things are pointing to the fact that this horse has had imbalanced hooves over the year, and obviously for this horse it was critical. Some horses you can get away with it a little bit, but other horses it's really critical. And I haven't addressed the side bone yet. Remind me of that, Gary. Am I still with people?
Yep.
So the extensor process here is looking a little bit irregular, but that's not necessarily, again, something in itself, because they can become in all shapes and sizes. You have got a little lump here where the extensor tendon attaches. It may be something and nothing. And again, up here, again, maybe something and nothing, because we do have little ridges on these bones, and it is slightly different per horse. Again, we have got a ground parallel and too much toe, but not a severely long toe. I think that they are looking at in terms of separation, which it doesn't cause. We are looking at it in terms of dorsopalmar balance, heel to toe balance. It's just too much down here. It's just not balanced correctly. If you balance that correctly, you would have P3 would not be ground parallel. You'd have a different angle, because this angle would change here on the dorsal wall. Right, let's move on. But no side bone seen here. I should go back to the other one, shouldn't I, and have a look at that. So Hines, nothing to write home about at all. Tiny little bit beginning, but really not an awful lot to write home about. It's not, we can't see too much on the navicular bone. You can see some little invaginations, but nothing really major. Again, we're not balanced. All the way up through the bones, we're not balanced. I do think conformationally you're fighting conformation here, which isn't a problem as long as you follow what the horse naturally needs. Pointing out the flare, really and truly, it's not a problem as long as the horse is mediolaterally balanced, because they shouldn't be walking on that part there, as long as as you are trimming down to the hard sole plane. Yeah, they're pointing to that little area at the end of the navicular bone, which again possibly is an enthesophyte. So what you've got attached to the ends of the navicular bone are sesamoidean ligaments that attach to keep it in place, and you've got the big impar. Tiny little bit of a spot there. In itself, like I said, doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be lameness caused. What it means is it's like a warning shot across your bows. Something's not right. So the spinal processes, what came first, the chicken or the egg? With that, because that has problems too. Everything stems from their feet, pretty much. So right hind, again, this is probably the foot that is the best in terms of position at this moment in time. And guys, X-ray is one moment in time. You can trim a hoof capsule and totally change this X-ray in one trim. And I don't think people appreciate that. We could come along, we could trim more heel off, suddenly we'd have a ground parallel P3. Again, we've got this slight change to the extensor process. I don't think that's anything to write home about. I think we have a tighter space here. I would say it's very slightly broken back, but not, I wouldn't be that concerned about that, but I'd be worrying about this dorsopalmar balance on all 4 feet, heel to toe. Looks like we might have a little bit more side bone going on there in itself. Shouldn't cause lameness. And then we have very much have but I don't think the foot's down properly, but you've got obviously a mediolateral imbalance. So what this horse is suffering for, and more side bone, which is why we could see a little bit more. So there's a little bit there, but it's not extensive. It's the beginnings of, they're different in every foot. So what are we looking at here? We're looking at a difference in every single foot. Tiny little invaginations there. That's all looking okay. The solar canal, it's looking okay. Looks like the palmar processes might have been going through a bit of remodeling. And here we've got this area here, which you can see, so that you've got gap, 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 not very much gap, gap, gap. Right. So now you can, we have got shots, brilliant. So now what you can see, left 4, if I'd have had more time, I could have gone and fiddled about and put these together. But what we've got here is too long a toe. It's not a severely long toe. It's just not balanced properly from heel to toe. That's the big issue that we've got going on here. It's chipping at the quarters because the quarters have been in play. Oh, sorry. That balance heel to heel is looking pretty okay, but heel to toe, you've got far too much toe material poking up. That's why you're getting also heel to toe imbalances. Incredibly common. I mean, isn't it, Gary?
Very much so. Balance is one of the hardest things. It really is.
Go on.
Having the heels down to the right place first and nice and flat is what's going to give you that's point number one. You get that right first, and then when you look for balance, you can see it at the toe much better.
And you can see here that the quarters aren't being kept down to the hard sole plane, and there's definitely some material here, but definitely cool. That's why it's chipping. Can you see any slight crack in there? And it's going to chip. So that needs looking at. I don't know. Are you trimming these yourself, Claire? Have you been trimming them yourself over the years? It's a fairly good job, actually, except I don't think you're down to the hard sole. Well, you're not, because we've got some heel to toe imbalances. We've also had what looks like, we've got a little bit of contraction, what looks like a little bit of thrush infection. You want to be treating that ASA blooming P with your creams, antiseptic cream and an athlete's foot cream, or anything that necessarily doesn't have clotrimazole in it. Something like Caniston that's got clotrimazole in it is really, really good. Mix it together, paste it in every single day, because that doesn't help if that's sore back there. When you're doing the sole, try not to groove with your knife. Try and do it a little bit more on the side of your knife, and then you won't get so many grooves. This bar is still a little bit long here. Looks like you've done a good effort on the Mustang roll, but we've got too much toe. So the heel to toe balance is incorrect. And yeah, so it's going to, hang on a minute, let me just take a screenshot of that. Let me just come back to you guys and stop sharing. Let me go to Canva and just create a whiteboard. Da, 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 da. Hold on, callers, just connecting you. Right. All right, let me just share my screen again. I'll come back to comments in a sec. Okay, so what you've got here when I'm talking about an imbalance is I'm talking about you got, at the moment we are like this, right? It really should be more like that. That's your imbalance. Can you see that wedge growing bigger as you go forward? And it's just, it only needs to take that amount to change that angle and push that angle further back, which therefore then puts P3 into a more ground parallel, pushing towards negative palmar, what they call plantar angle if it's in the hind. Although I don't like that, because we're talking about the palmar processes, which we don't call the plantar processes. It's just me. So that's the problem. So when you're looking down from heel to toe, there's too much material here at the toe, and it only needs to be a small amount. Okay, let's go back to let's go back to this. Moving on. Yeah, so any amount of flare has got to be addressed, right? What you aren't trying to do is you're not trying to make this wall the same height as this wall. You're not. And the heel needs to be down to the hard sole plane, but this needs to be graduated down into the hard sole plane so that you don't have this amount of hoof wall above. Because otherwise, if you leave the walls at the quarters in play, that is going to affect your mediolateral imbalance. It looks like we've had a little bit of something there. Is that just dirt? It's a little bit pinky at the back. Again, it's just perhaps the hoof mechanism is just not quite doing its thing. It's a little bit pinky in there, isn't it? So you can see if I was to put a line straight down the middle of there, you'd have what looks like less on this side and then a ton more on this side. Well, you haven't really got a ton more sole per se. You've got a little bit more, but you've got a lot more wall. And that flare is impacting on the twistiness of this foot. You can see it's slightly wry. It's the whole thing's slightly doing this. So the quarters very, very, very much need to be addressed. Yeah, they really do. So again, if you put that down here, and it's a common thing, it's fine, it's not a problem. I think the vets are freaking out about it. Not at all. You just need to keep it down to the hard sole plane, and then the sole will sort itself out and put itself where it needs to be. You've got a hole in the heel here, and that will be, they're like icebergs, these little infections. It will be much bigger inside there, and indeed here underneath the bar. So that's why it's really important that you always keep down to the hard sole plane at the heels and get these bars off. And I think genuinely, I think you're probably there, but you're definitely not there when it comes to the quarter on that side there. And again, you can see, can't you, this is chipping off at the quarters, and same thing, exactly the same thing as in the last image I showed you. You've got too much toe because the heel to toe balance is off. And it,
can you go back one image?
Yeah.
They're worried about that flare on that left-hand side as we look at the picture. But as that hoof wall is taken down to the hard sole plane, the amount of flare that it is leaning out on the left-hand side will reduce.
Yeah. Yeah.
It will reduce quite considerably.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not going to be really narrow, but it's going to reduce because it shouldn't be there. So when people think about that you're removing flare, you're not. You're actually trimming to the hard sole plane. But when you're trimming to the hard sole plane, it can reduce the amount of flare that is there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're right. And it's just a trimming error to leave it, because that then puts a hoof is at its strongest when everything is working perfectly together. A hoof wall was never designed to here's your hard sole plane and here's the hoof wall. It was designed to be together like this. That's the strongest. As soon as the hoof wall begins to go up and out, that then is causing flex, which it shouldn't do. And that can cause problems. Now, when people think about a long toe, when we're talking about rehabbing a long toe, they go, oh, it's doing the same thing. No, it isn't. Because we have sole and we have it balanced to the sole plane and balanced heel to dorsopalmar, heel to toe. So this is an important thing. And what we also have here is we've got thinner hoof wall coming through to thicker, and it's just the thickness of the hoof wall needs to be more consistent all the way around. You've got a lovely, beautiful waterline there guiding you. You don't have to come right up to that waterline, but you can come in further than you are for the roll. And that will, all of that will help all of this. It will all help that. And if you get that little bit of peeling, just nipper it off. You don't need it there. Got a little bit of hole going on in there. And you can sort of almost see the way the horse is standing. This sort of standing back with the toes like this, because that's the way the toe is pushing the foot back. The longer the toe here, the more it pushes back, the more it pushes back, the more it pushes back, the more it pushes back. Yeah, this just needs a tickle. And again, you're going to need to take more toe there, almost definitely from heel to toe. Every time you take heel down, commensurately, the toe needs to come down as well. Now, I think people get a bit afraid because we say don't go into the hard sole plane, but that's all built up because it needs that support at the toe. It tries really hard not to leave too much wall growing up out of the way, so the sole will basically build up with the toe, because it's a pillar of support. And so consequently, when you bring the heels down, you do need to bring the toe down as well. And you can see here now on this shot, you can see that the quarter's above the hard sole plane, and that will not help when it comes to flare situations. Doesn't look like it's a lot, does it? But it just means it's all active. All of this, it doesn't, none of this is we've not got active and passive wear patterns going on here. We've just got all active pretty much, except for this bit over here, which is I don't know if you're thinning that to try and remove that, or it's just breaking away. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Again, you can see these quarters in active play. So therefore you've got chipping going on there. It's one of those. Let me just pause that. You can see the chipping going on there. Do you know what, Claire? This isn't a difficult thing to sort out, to get them right and to keep them right. And I would suggest that you would trim. I would trim this horse if he was my horse and I knew he was getting issues with his back now. I'd be trimming this horse every 5 weeks without fail on a constant schedule. And I'd be making absolutely sure that his mediolateral heel to heel and heel to toe dorsopalmar balance was spot on. And I don't think it has been for quite, well, it hasn't for quite some time. Mustang roll needs a little bit of work, but Claire, don't worry about it when you come to the workshop. Honestly, when you come home, you'll have this absolutely caned. So don't freak out about it too much now, but you will. You can see we've got chipping going on at the quarters. And we've got bars that are too much. Hello, darling. Oh, I think we got a goat down there. Is that a goat? And another lovely horsey. Hello. Hello. Now, if you have consistently got long toes here on these hinds, so you're consistently, one of them is more negative or more ground parallel than the other, one of them's got a different angle to the other. If you consistently have 4 feet, which he's got, obviously, that are all different, all slightly different in terms of heel height, mediolateral imbalance, heel to toe balance, position of P3, therefore, issues that are now beginning to see with the navicular bone because the distal interphalangeal joint is not quite right. All of these things that we're beginning to see have crept in over a period of time because of imbalances in every single foot. And it's common. It's so common. And it's so common that the answer is heart bar shoe. And it isn't an answer. Of course, it's not the answer. That's not going to fix anything. How can a heart bar shoe, which is metal, nailed onto a horse's foot, or any remedial shoeing or any remedial farrier, nothing of those sorts need to be done. All that needs to be done is you follow your horse's natural parameters, because your horse is very specific, because he's got a few conformational things going on in his legs, and that's perfectly fine. But if we try and manipulate the hoof capsules because we think various things need to be done, like you say, you've tried all these different trims, and if you're doing some of them, I dare say you've been removing toe, and now we've got too much toe. And so if we have our angles of our hinds, or any angle of any foot, which, because we've got too much toe here, it's pushing it back. It's pushing the horse back like this, back towards, through into their hocks. It affects their stifle. And of course, it's going to affect all the way up here into the sacroiliac. And then it's going to affect them going through into their back. And then when you've got front feet are doing the same, boom. Crikey, I've talked for ages. Hello, darling. Yeah. Thanks for all these pictures, Claire. You've done a grand job. And you can see here that you've had a little bit of a hole. Could just be cracking at the quarters, but it could also just be that there's been a bit of an infection in there. Have we done them all now? Now it looks like you've had a go. Looks like you've had a go at trimming that. Just further. Keep going. More. And don't leave so much thickness in the hoof wall. Now we can see that flare. It's very, very important that this needs to be kept down to the hard sole plane. You see the twist? Boom. The foot's doing that. Slightly conformational, but made totally worse by not having the feet precisely as they should be. Can you see that thickness here? Not on this side, but on this side. It's going to push the foot over. It's a problem. That's it, isn't it? We've done it. Stop sharing. Let me go back and have a look at the comments. How was that? Is that what you wanted to hear? I don't know whether that's what you wanted to hear. Okay, let's go back and have a look at all. My goodness, all of these comments. Right, Max is doing really well. He's still got some way to go on the fronts, but he's very happy. Backs are perfect. Yes.
Good job.
Leah, ooh, she's excited. We're filling them up, by the way. We've already got enough people, haven't we, Gary, for our intake, by the looks of it. We haven't interviewed everybody yet. But if you're thinking about coming on, you get in sharpish because it's moving on. Good morning, says Joe Kirk from New Zealand.
Hi,
Good
Joe.
morning, team. Can you make car windscreen stickers as a merch? I think we probably
They've all seen my little HMI stickers that are on the back of my truck.
Oh, those tiny
That's
little
what
things.
those tiny little things. I think we can perhaps do something a bit better than that.
I think we can probably do something better. Hello, Alicia. How are you, my lovely? Jackie Kennedy. Hello, everyone from Lanzarote. Hello. Is it windy? Susan
Hi,
Mitchell's here. Hi, everybody. Emma Tyson. It's absolutely... Oh, yes.
The racehorse.
Yeah. Yes. Monica. Hello, Monica. Sarah says spine sticker on Gary's pickup. Yeah, I get it. Vivian Patterson. I'm driving. Hi, driving. We'll be listening. Caviar story, very upsetting. Yes, brushed under the rug. Of course. Isn't it always? And we're seen as the enemy for requesting transparency. It's like the black box, isn't it? Can we not know what's going on in the black box so we can find out? Let's not keep covering this up, putting them into the ground or whatever they're going to do with it. Can we not do that? Can we all learn? And isn't it ironic that millions and millions and millions of pounds have been spent going nowhere, keeping people in jobs?
You said that they wouldn't do that with the jumbo jet. This horse was probably worth as much money as a jumbo jet. It ain't going to be far off, is it?
Well, it had near the $8 million worth of prize money, didn't it?
It's something like that. So when you look at it that way, and this horse was only 18.
You'd
it should
think,
have been.
wouldn't you?
Oh, my goodness, it's just ridiculous.
You'd think, wouldn't you, if you were in the racing world, you'd want to know, just in case it's... But I tell you what happens. It just goes, oh, it was inevitable. It's inevitable, right? No, it's totally inevitable. Was it indeed? Can we find out, please? Oh, no, we're bad people for requesting that. I think some people said, who do you think you are? Well, we're people who are trying to raise the standards of hoof care around the world. Who do you think you are? Like colic, racist diets are micromanaged, so how can they die of colic? Oh, I found it in the end. Hello, Sandra, darling. Clarewood. Oh, yes, it's you. Clarewood, right. Sorry, not very tech. Trying to get laptop working so I can see better. Okay, I hope you could see that. Hi, Wise. You can always go back and watch it. Hi, Caroline. It's the same with people dying from cancer. It is curable and avoidable. I did it and I know how. But everyone that tries to talk about it is shut down, sometimes literally, i.e. killed. Have you ever read Chris Beats Cancer, Chris Walk? I read that not very long ago. It is an absolutely brilliant book. He is so good at writing. It's a great book. Loved it. Absolutely brilliant. Penny Gifford. Hi from New Zealand. Angela Garberg. Bonsoir. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Meta's here. Great to see you all. This is ages ago you left this. It's about 40 minutes ago. Good nutritional profile according to test. Okay, because we were worrying about that, weren't we? Teeth all right, I'm assuming fine. Angie Medler, hello, darling. Is that showing the same things on left fore and hind PPT? They're all different, aren't they? Oh, Gary's disappeared. They're all different. Julie, such inflammatory language makes people panic and then leads them to taking drastic action, usually not required. If anything, stepping back and allowing real healing is usually the answer. Because they don't know though, right? Who? No. What's real healing? We couldn't possibly do that. No. And they're not in that world. They are not in that world. And yet we're told that we're idiots and that what do we know? And that they get the best care. Come on, guys. Come be my vet, please. Hi, everyone. Patty, hello. Yeah. Got to that. Blah blah blah. We asked what's most of today. I think he put it up. Claire, what surprised me was the main reason for the X-rays was for the back. The full write-up for feet took me by surprise. To be honest, I was interested, but not expecting advice on the hoof, but on the back. To be honest, there's hoof picks a few from a couple of weeks ago, so and the rest from today. Yeah, good. Trim recently, my fault, as I'm trying to avoid taking toe off. That's okay. Last trimmer was spring. That's okay. I get what you're trying to do. It's not a problem. Balance is not easy. So what we're going to do is we are going to show you that when you come to the workshop, and you will get that nailed. No problem. Pardon the reference to nails. We don't really want to reference that. But what I find interesting for all horses is they are constantly going through every single time their feet are trimmed. Something will be different on all 4 feet because people are not following the horse's natural parameters. It's guesswork, to put it mildly. Good point, REP3 pick. Super interesting hearing about all of this. Good. Looking forward to learning how to find the HSP, as I'm not confident about this. Obviously a problem. It's okay. And also when you have that sort of flare and you find the heel, it's very to end up with a step, boom, 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 and coming back up again. But we'll teach you how to graduate that. Garry will probably teach you all the students. Hi, Toya. Hope you're all right after your horrid couple of days. And I think it was Dom's birthday. Happy birthday, Dom. Was it 2 days ago? When it was all around about the same time. Jackie's still here. Super interesting. Thank you. Karen, first on Thursday from a couple of weeks ago. Yes, my fault. I got that. And then I saw bad brush. Let it get away from me. I should know better. Just run off my bad thrush. I don't know whether it's bad. I just think he doesn't need all of those extra things adding to it. Once a day, very quick. Literally just quick paste with your finger. I was worried about rasping toe callus and thinning at the toe, hence why I didn't. You got a ton of toe going on. But what they're saying with the long toe is they're expecting that to be chopped right back, because what they're looking at is lever forces instead of the fact that if you leave more toe, you actually you lower the angle, you change the angle. Do you think this is hard sole playing? Julie advised me to take quarter down, which I did. There is later pick. I saw that. That was a good effort. Not quite there, but almost there. Very good. Mustang roll needs a bit of a tweak. Good to know about angle and thickness of hoof all around. He stands like a tripod typically. Really, really helpful. You're very welcome. Was super interesting, really informative. Spirit is beautiful soul, as is his human. Thank you for looking at this case tonight. You're very welcome. Christy's here. Boudan. Oh, are you new to us, Christy? Hello. Jackie, yes, would love a car sticker. Car stickers, it seems. Read the... Yes, it did. Not the only one as well. I think there's been... I mean, foals sadly do, but what things weren't right in the House of Caviar, were they? But we'll never find out. Patty says, yes, I am the only one in my country who talked about bad things in the Olympics, and I've been questioned because I showed bad pictures they don't want to see. I told them I don't want those things to happen. I don't like to see horrible things, but less to... Well, Patty, stick with us and we're changing the world. We will. Oh, darling. I know that was tough. I am new, says Christy. Hooray! Well, there we are. You've had your hour. Garry, you said loads tonight.
I did. You were on one. You were on the flow.
Claire, one of the reasons that we use one of these, and you'll get one of these in the no, you won't get one, but you'll get to use one of these in the Jamie Jackson design. These is an absolute inspirational bit of design. It's fantastic. He designed these years and years ago for people to read toe length and also to look at the angle, and all feet pretty much sit within a range. You can see there. What would be really useful for you, maybe just to sort of learn and understand, is to perhaps get yourself one of these. And I think Urban Horse sell them. And big shout out to Carolyn at Urban Horse, incidentally. There, she's our main supplier of bits and bobs when it comes to tools, etc. And she's absolutely fantastic. And we do have a discount code if you go on the challenges or the workshops. Would be worth you knowing how to use one of these and measure his angles on his backs and his fronts when you trim them. It's just for interest, more than anything else. Anne Mitchell's here. Hi. Sarah Lou says, think only 2 of the 8 took. This one sadly died. Hi everyone, very late. Thought be finished by now. You must have been late again. Oh, we weren't actually.
We were 5 minutes late, which is actually really good for us.
Thanks for another great evening. You're very welcome. Oh, a little birdie tells me, Becky, that you might be saying hello to all our followers on Thursday. Is that the case? Just drop a little bit in there, you know, just drop it. You and Lisa, everybody watching, it looks like you've got student night on Thursday. I think we'll have to just call it student night. Can't just call it a particular day. I think you have student night on Thursday. And then it'll have to be HMB Pro night when they qualify. So education, even when I don't understand every word, I still get it. Thank you. You are very welcome. We'll look at getting thingy from Urban Horse. I have hoof map. Okay. Is that an EP thing? You just don't need that. You just need to know. It's just going to be interesting for you to check those angles, because what you don't want when you are following your horse's HSP, you don't want the angles to be changing every 5 minutes at every trim, in between trims. So when we come and trim a horse, if you leave the toe wall on the ground, no matter whether it's stretched or not, but it's balanced from heel to toe, when everything grows, it kind of all grows down. So you've got P3 in there and the foot sort of grows like this, and then you come back, boop, and you do it again. But nothing, this angle shouldn't change. P3 angle shouldn't change, because all the time we're following that horse's parameters, not what we're making up. And people don't get it. They 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 don't get it. And they fight against it all the time. Garry and I had a big giggle this morning. I've got to tell you this. So Garry came. Garry came in to do
I dropped a bomb. And I said, "Oh, Lindsay, come and have a look at this." She said, "You know, I'm part of some of these groups, but never comment." And I said, "Oh, we're just everywhere I look right now. We're just living rent. We're living rent free in these places, and
in their heads.
I have to say that it's so lovely that some of our Phoenix warriors and our Hoof heroes and our students are in there, and they're giving them a very good professional battering." So I went
battering is, I think, the word.
I didn't have time because I was on a bit of a time scale, because not only do I work with my lovely friend and neighbour Lindsay, but I get to do all her electrics as well. And I've got a time scale because I've got to go back to the UK on Friday, and I've got all the lawns to mow and da da da. So I thought, Lindsay, look at this. And I've had chance to actually read 2 comments. So whilst I was busy wiring up a fuse board and all of those kinds of things, Lindsay was there, and she actually dictated it all to me with voices, and oh my goodness, it was so funny. But it's how people are they're just losing their heads. Everybody is talking about Hoofing Marvellous and the Phoenix Way. Everybody.
But of course, we're idiots.
Oh, we're idiots. But people aren't listening. It's almost
But this embarrassing.
They're just going along and going, I'm going to say this, blah, blah, blah. And then they're going to go, oh, but when there's an answer, la 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 la. I'm paying no attention to what's being said whatsoever. When these replies coming back are so intelligent and
really
thought-provoking and excellent. So all I can say is to everybody that applies to, thank you so much.
Amazing.
We
really
have 2
good.
hours.
We've got 2. Was this how long I did it? We've got 2.
Well,
there are 2
like
groups that we know of at the moment where we're our Roofing Marvellous at the very top of that group being talked about. And what they don't realise is that more that they and it's meant to be negative. They put posts up to try and be negative about us. Of course, that, and all it does is it just pushes people our way because they have to come, because people are inquisitive and they need to come. But what people don't do is their due diligence. So they go, oh well, yes, but it's all behind, you have to pay for it. Well, then they don't know much about us, do they? Because they obviously haven't seen the over 100 odd videos that we have got going on my YouTube channel alone. And I think this is number 83. Free.
It is 83.
Should I just say that again? Fee for free. I just said for free then. I didn't mean to. It's just silly. It's silliness. And why? Because people chop toes and they hate it that they are being called out on it, because as far as they're concerned, it does not cause any issues whatsoever. Okay, biologists, let's see it. Let's understand. Oh, feedback's rubbish. Really? Okay, what did you study at school? Did you study biology and chemistry at university? Because if you did, you'd understand that feedback mechanisms are not stupid and that they do exist. Every single place in the body, there are feedback mechanisms. Oh, there are. So it's incredibly naive to say that there aren't. Oh yes, woohoo. Lindsay the extrovert and Garry the introvert is the perfect partnership. Actually, I have to tell you, I am a bit of an introvert.
It's actually the other way around. It's actually the other way around. I am just so polite that I can't interrupt. I'm just so polite. But given me the chance, I can rant like the rest of them.
I am more quiet, really, in real life.
Yes,
I know that doesn't seem right, but I am. I like to just sit there and yeah. Uta, that was a very interesting live. Thank you so much. Woohoo, Becky. Yep, get to meet Becky. Oh yes, there's you're done now. I've told everybody you have to be there. Annie Hogan's here. Hi, Annie. Melon says, agreed, did not understand it all, but great explanations. Go back and watch it. You can watch it a million times. That would be great for the YouTube channel. We'll make sure I wash my hair and don't wear my PJs. Bless you. I assume you're not working.
You better not wear a negligee because I'm going to be down the pub.
Oh, God. No, we don't want to see the manly bit come out. Stop it. Thanks. Thank you, guys. Wonderful as always, says Vicky. Where are the negative comments, which sites, groups, etc.? We can't possibly tell you that, but they know. But go and have a look. Barefoot site somewhere. It's something to do with barefoot professionals. It's not called that though. It's along those lines. It's an app that does angles from pics. Some Farrys using it. Oh, not been using it yet, but I subscribe, so wouldn't mind experimenting. Is it looking at X-ray in terms of being able to show poster? By the way, I posted a nasty blue tongue pic on a local page and it got removed. I know what you're talking about now. You don't need it. But if it's a gadget that you feel will help you, it's fine. I don't need to use anything like that, and neither do any of our pros. You just need to follow what the horse is showing you and you will be spot on. That's all you need to do. Yes, to me, they told me you were washing my brains. Oh, we are. We're brainwashing the world. And you're all just stupid followers. Gullible, I think is the word.
Gullible. Victims.
Oh, yeah, you're victims.
Victims.
Oh, God. You give so much info and knowledge for free. You could make a fortune if you sold your info, but you do it for the equines in the world, which is far more admirable. You got to go through 83 videos though, as in lives, to work out where the juicy bits are. Melanie McCrow, people tell me I'm becoming one of them, other owners who want to know more. But I tell you what's very exciting, because so many of you follow these lives and you are learning. When you do get into the these groups where they chuck out these ridiculously childish age, you know, I mean, I know children who are more mature, and they put out these ridiculous comments, and you Phoenix Warriors are coming back and Hoof Heroes are coming back with really good responses. They don't know what to do with themselves. It's funny. It does make me laugh. But talking about feedback, I know you will, my love. I will sort that out. I do promise you I am. It's in my head every day. I am the same, introverted, but given the chance, full of life. It's just a show. Only just got home. Wondered if you were still be on. Yes, look at us. I've got to go now. Very large, but it does not touch the ground. What the feedback we're looking for? Waiting for. I left them, but they do not touch the ground. But I don't know what you're saying there, man. I just read it too fast. Leah, thanks for the free brainwash. It's never felt so clean. all right, my lovelies. Right, we're off now. Claire, if you need any more advice, then of course drop us a line. But you're chatting with Julie, I know you are, and we're going to see you, aren't we, in October at the Scottish Clinic, so at Julie's. So you'll learn, you'll go away without a shadow of a doubt knowing what you have to do. So don't worry about it. It's all coming. I've got lots of cadaver legs. All right, we're off. As always, thank you for tuning in. You've been an absolute gas. Sorry, I've gassed constantly. Gary's really not said anything this evening. Much. And I'll better go and take my Asher Setchell t-shirt off, or shirt off, because she finds me wearing it. I'll be in trouble. All right then. Bye-bye, everyone. Love you all. Bye.
See you tomorrow.